$43 million. What does it mean to you in general terms? For most of us, it seems like a huge fortune, but for some people, it's the amount of money they earn in just 1 year. So what would you think if I told you that the person who earned such an enormous amount was a social media content creator? Yes, I know you are wondering who he is and how he earned such a huge amount of money. Don't worry, because you will find out in detail who this person is and how he achieved this success. We are talking about Sophie Rain, who has been making waves in recent years with her videos on TikTok.
So you are aware that like you're the final boss when it comes to OF, right?
Is that what they say?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it?
Mm-hmm. And I know you saw the clip of Julia making $400,000 a month, so I just need to know, like, how much are you making a month?
I don't know if I don't really want to hurt your feelings. I just don't.
Hurt my feelings? What do you mean?
So how did Sophie Rain make $43 million? Sophie Rain is one of the shining stars of the social media world in recent years. With her unique content, she has become a phenomenon not only on TikTok, but also on many other platforms. She currently has 2.6 million followers. However, you may look at the number of followers and think, $43 million with so few people. This is where the secret comes into play. Sophie's success is not only based on TikTok, but also on her collaborations with brands, product promotions, and the huge sponsorship revenues she earns per video. Of course, such a huge success also brings criticism. Sophie's videos, especially on TikTok, have sometimes caused great controversy, but these criticisms have not stopped her from gaining more fans. In fact, the hundreds of fan accounts opened in Sophie's name showed many people how passionate this large community around her is. Why is Sophie Rain, who has not been on the agenda until now, in the middle of a big controversy? Sophie Rain's name came to the agenda when it was announced in a podcast called Unearthed that her annual earnings were $43 million. This news created a bombshell on social media. While some found it hard to believe that a content creator could earn such a fortune, others criticized Sophie. So what is the reason for this criticism? Actually, the primary reason is social perception, especially for middle-income earners struggling with economic difficulties. $43 million is a far from realistic dream. For people struggling to make ends meet, it may seem like an unfair achievement for someone to earn such a huge amount of money by dancing, making funny videos, or, for example, promoting a brand. But if you ask me, Sophie Rain's earnings make sense in a sense, because the money she earns is a reflection of social media and our social interest. If millions of people are watching a piece of content, that person becomes a gold mine for brands. Sophie used this system to her advantage and gained a huge audience.
We are now living in the twilight zone. Today is a world where somebody like Sophie Rain makes more than professional model.
Let's take a look at Sophie Rain's content. Sophie is especially famous for her dance videos on TikTok. These videos often feature her in tight clothes or bikinis, highlighting her physical features. The fact that such videos are watched by millions of people is one of the biggest factors that increase Sophie's popularity. But we need to pause here and ask a question. Who is watching these videos? According to research, Sophie's main audience is young people between the ages of 15 and 23. These young people closely follow Sophie's every post and compete to interact with her. This audience is the cornerstone of Sophie's success. But is there a downside to this? The impact of Sophie's content on young people is highly debatable. This kind of content can contain messages that can be harmful to young people, and even younger users can adopt these videos as a way of life. This shows not only the impact of Sophie Rain, but also the impact of social media on young people in general. In some countries, social media platforms have even been banned to prevent the spread of such content. However, it is debatable how effective these bans are, because the internet always finds a way to access this content somehow. Another reason why Sophie Rain is so popular is her viral Spider-Man themed video. This video is one of the content that made Sophie explode on social media. However, this video has also been the center of controversy. Sophie claimed that the person in the video was not her, but after this statement, she started to produce more Spider-Man themed content. This was seen by viewers not as a coincidence, but as a strategic move. At this point, we need to recognize a fact. Influencers like Sophie Rain know that controversy and criticism are an opportunity. Controversy means visibility on social media. Sophie Rain manages to keep herself in the spotlight by using it skillfully.
So if you haven't seen by now, a certain OF creator has tweeted her earnings for 1 year. $43.5 million in 1 year. So let's just deep it and compare that to some footballers' wages, right? Starting off with Kylian Mbappe, arguably the best player in the world right now. Well,
Ultimately, Sophie Rain's success tells us something important about how social media works. Controversial content has become a way to gain popularity. This is a problem not just for Sophie Rain, but for the social media ecosystem. At this point, we all have a duty to look critically at the content we consume and question our social media habits. Because in this ecosystem, not only the content creators, but also us, the viewers, have a huge impact. The fact that influencers like Sophie Rain make such huge profits is possible not only because of their efforts, but also because of our attention. Let's take a step further and consider that Sophie Rain is not just an individual, but representative of a wider phenomenon. Sophie's success is actually the result of an era in which we are rewriting the rules of the digital world. These rules are based on the algorithm of traceability, which brings us to another point. The rise of creators like Sophie Rain also reflects the changing values and priorities of the audience. When we look at Sophie's content, we often don't find a deep or educational message, but this is not a problem for her target audience. What matters to them is that Sophie is entertaining and engaging. However, we also witness a breaking point here. Sophie's success story makes us question the social responsibilities of social media. In other words, what will be the long-term social impact of this kind of content that influences the lifestyles of young people? More importantly, should these impacts be evaluated only through content creators like Sophie, or are we, the viewers, also responsible for this situation? If we want a more ethical model of content production on social media platforms, we need to demand a transformation not only from content creators, but also from platforms and audiences. Perhaps thinking about such questions can help our progressive and growing society to aim further ahead and make the use of social media more appropriate. This is how Sophie Rain's world is shaping up, a journey full of controversy, criticism, and success. Sophie is one of those who rose to the top by seizing opportunities in this new world of social media. But this story is not unique to Sophie. It is actually a reflection of the digital age and the blurring of boundaries and opportunities it brings. In this world, dealing with criticism has become as much an art as going viral. Sophie has been at the center of criticism, controversy, and cultural clashes while making a fortune of millions of dollars. But perhaps the real point of this story is that individuals like Sophie Rain have gone from being mere creators to becoming social figures. Sophie Rain's story is not just one person's success, it is also a mirror of social dynamics, the expectations of younger generations, and the social media ecosystem. This is why we need to look at her story not just as a TikTok phenomenon, but as an opportunity to understand the realities of this age. Because Sophie Rain's world is also our world. So, do you think today's subject, Sophie Rain, is still the undisputed top dog on social media platforms? Or could it be that younger and more dynamic content creators have already arrived on the scene to claim Sophie's throne? Perhaps staying at the top of social media is not only a matter of creativity, but also a matter of talent that requires rapid adaptation. Sophie has managed to make a place for herself in this world, but competition never ends on social media, does it? Don't forget to share your thoughts with us in the comments. How long do you think Sophie Rain's story will continue? Or are social media stars like meteorites destined to flare up and one day fade into oblivion? And don't forget to like and subscribe to our video so we can be together again in our next crazy video. Which creator's world will we dive into, or which social media trend will we discuss? See you in the next video.